Good morning, everyone. We're just going to allow for 2 minutes for the participants to join, and then we will proceed with the webinar. Thank you all for taking your time to join today. We at Manifold Enterprise Solutions are looking forward to hosting you for this informative webinar. So, at the count of 11:03, we will begin. Okay. Um, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to introduce myself. I am Akitoye Delano from Manifold Enterprise Solutions, and I would like to welcome you to our webinar. Our webinar today is about mastering cloud cost controls with FinOps excellence. Before I introduce our first speaker, I'm just going to give a brief of why we are hosting this webinar. So, in today's reality, cloud has delivered what it has promised, enabling speed, scalability, and flexibility. But one of the things that has been noted throughout the market globally is that costs are going out of control. If we cut back to earlier last year, with when Twitter was acquired by Elon Musk and X, one of the biggest debacles that he had in terms of scaling the company was managing his cloud billing. And that has been seen throughout the entire every industry. There has been reportedly over $200 billion wasted globally each year in cloud spend, and most clients see either 30 to 40% of their spend either being underutilized or not actually returning value. So some of the patterns that has led to this is budgets being misaligned with usage patterns and also poor governance in the overall cloud strategy of the organization, leading to a low ROI. So Manifold Enterprise Solutions has positioned itself to address these needs by launching a cloud practice based on FinOps principles. Which leads me into our first speaker, Mr. Adejeji Awolesi, who is a FinOps consultant based in the UK, who has spearheaded the delivery and development of FinOps along with the FinOps Foundation in terms of delivering to multinational corporations and helping them actually actualize value from their overall cloud spend. Um, Mr. Adedeji, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akintoye. Hello, everyone. So today I'll be talking about, a top-down approach, about FinOps, what it's all about, how you can, implement it within the organization. So I'll just be giving like a top approach, and then if you want much more in-depth details, you can contact MES, and then we'll go through that to you. So the first point, when people have different myths about, different things, and it's the same thing applicable to FinOps too. So when you see people, or when I go for conferences or meetings, and I just ask general people, what do you think about FinOps? So I've been able to coin, four things that people talk about, and address it as like base down, and then we develop on it. So the first thing is like when you ask people what do you have you heard about FinOps before? People know about system ops, DevOps, and just bringing FinOps into the play, and they be like, oh, are you talking about financial operations? And that's like the first thing I hear from loads of people too. And FinOps is not financial operations; it's more of like an operational framework, which I'll be explaining more in this webinar too. And then another thing too that people normally come about is when you ask them what's FinOps, and they just say, oh, it's all about saving money, And I come back and say, no, FinOps is not all about saving money. Fine, you can have a bit of savings, bit and bit there, but the amount is more about, how much are you spending, how much is the organization spending, and even if you are trying to save costs, where are you putting this cost into? Most organizations, instead of wasting, we have like a 30% wastage in most organizations spend. Instead of wasting this amount, you can use it to bring in more headcount into your organizations. You can use it to, do product or feature development. There are lots of things that you can use it for training within the organizations too. So it's not just all about, oh, we want to save money, let's go think about FinOps. It's more about what are the business values of the infrastructures or you have in the cloud. Then the third point I always hear about is people think about FinOps when they just want to implement a bit of changes within our organization. So they see it as a race. They just want to, yeah, we want to maybe save cost, or we just want to do this. Okay, let's quickly bring in FinOps and do it. So they think about it as a race. And I go back to them and say, no, it is an iterative thing. It's more of like, it's a sprint. It keeps going. It's not just something you just implement once and forget about. So the fourth one, which is like the newest of it all, which has now been introduced. When everybody think about FinOps, they think about public cloud. Oh, FinOps in AWS, FinOps in Azure, FinOps in GCP, Alibaba, Huawei and stuff like that. No, FinOps has now grown more scopes. Is now people are now looking at applying FinOps into their data centers. People are now applying FinOps into licensing SaaS. People are now applying FinOps into AI, for example, which is like the big wave going on now. So there are lots of different. So is more than public cloud. So, and then why FinOps? And from my experiences and interactions and things that I've seen in the worldwide, why FinOps is number one, cuts visibility to. Not all organizations have visibility into their cloud spend. You just get the billing, you pay for it, but you don't understand it. It could be due to, maybe untagged resources or different departments working in different silos. There's no appropriate chargeback or show back. So the cost visibility, you see an organization come over, we're spending $10 million every year, and we only have visibility into 60% of it. So this is where you bring FinOps into play, where you have to have visibility into your cloud spend. The other part too, from my experiences, invoice from mail. So yeah, when these invoices, sorry, can you please go back? I'm still on. Yeah, when your invoice coming, your billing invoice coming, and be like, wow. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, I was working on a project with some core data engineers to just on just one particular application, just one, we spent like we got a billing of £240,000. Just one picture. We're just trying to it's not even on all the resources. So sometimes and these invoices come after maybe like after 40 days or 30 days. So when the invoice come, you're just like, wow. So if we had just enabled FinOps at the beginning, I'm sure we wouldn't have run into those kind of issues too. As actually said, there's loads of wastage in there. So according to Gartner, we have over 30 to 40% public cloud waste. Organizations are just deploying resources which they are not having the maximum use or using it in full. So those waste stage will be cleared out too. And then fear of cloud growth too, because when organizations start doing, let's say, for example, they're doing migration from the on-prem to the cloud, and they have a budget of, let's say, 1 million. And then by the third or fourth month, they are already eating like 800,000 or 900,000. They are now scared, like, we've not even done like 20% migration. We're already eating, getting closer. But and this could be because, they're just doing simple lift and shift. They are not even taking advantage of what the cloud is there. They're just replicating what they have on-prem on the cloud. So it just brings that fear and be like, we just want to maybe do a hybrid model or just move some resources into the cloud. But if they've started FinOps from the start, if it has been, that would have helped in that too. And then different teams are working in silos too. Engineering have their own, finance is doing their own, product is doing their own. Everyone in the teams are just working in silos. So there's no alignment. So there's no way in which, they can bring up this FinOps, into the organization and work collaborative together. So these are the reasons why, FinOps came into play. And what's the definition for FinOps? So according to the FinOps Foundation, FinOps is like an organizational framework and cultural practice. I highlighted some keywords here. It's a framework which needs to be applied within the organization, and a cultural practice which everyone within the organization has to imbibe, and has to be like, for my experience, it has to be like a top-down approach. Your top management has to buy into it before it starts trickling down to, which maximize the business value of the cloud too. So we want to make sure that every resources or anything we have in the cloud, or we have in our data centers, or we are using AI or in our SaaS, we are making sure that we are maximizing the business value of it, and then enables a timely data-driven decision making. Data is so important for you to make your FinOps or some optimizational decisions or anything you want to do. You have to make sure that the right data is in front of the right person. So engineering team might have a different data in which they want to see. The CIO might have a different data they want to see. Product team might have a different data they want to see. So making sure that this data is available and is timely, would help out. And it creates financial accountability, because when everybody are on the same page, they're seeing what they are meant to see, they will be able to, there will be that financial accountability within the organization, which you now bring in collaboration with engineering, finance, and business team. Everyone is now working together. There's no silo in between them. Everyone is making the same decision and working collaboratively together. So that's the definition of FinOps. Can we go to the next slide, please? And then what these are like the core FinOps principles that needs to be embedded within the organizations too. Your teams, they need to collaborate. As I explained before, it's everyone does not need to work in silos. You need to collaborate together. Your business value needs to drive your technological decisions too. You don't just make any decisions within the organization. You have to look at, for example, what are your unit economics, have KPIs, aligned to FinOps, so that will enable you to be able to make technological decisions too. Sometimes you might decide that, this storage, for example, want to right size or something. You just make decision based on your business value. Do we need it? Don't we need it? Those kind of stuff too. Just don't make a decisions based on maybe your cloud provider recommendations, no, not like that. And then everyone has to take advantage of their technologies there. As I mentioned, different teams have different applications in the cloud. So you have your HR, you have your maybe procurement, finance, engineering, everything that, so you have to make sure that everyone's just take advantage. They're accountable to it. Decisions are made on it, and not just just being there and then we are just paying invoice for it. FinOps data, as I mentioned, should be timely, accurate, and accessible too, because, there are different tooling which you can use that will come into FinOps tooling too. And then FinOps should be enabled centrally too. This sometimes bring a bit of thought, but some people will be like, oh, should our FinOps team be under finance, or should it be under the technology team? Where should it sit and stuff like that. But depending on your organizational strategy and stuff, it depends. But you have to see centrally. Most organizations have like a cost center of excellence, and then they put FinOps in there too, and then they manage that centrally. And then different teams, as I said, might have like a FinOps representative, so that any decision made there, we can apply some governances across the whole subscription, and then every other team would then be able to pick it up from there. And then you have to take advantage of the variable cost model of the cloud too. Public cloud have different, apart from the capex, we have, take advantage of the OPEX, and then there are also different things to savings plans, reserve instances. There are lots of incentives. So you just need to take advantage of that. So can we go to the next slide, please? And then, yeah, this brings up, what FinOps domain and capabilities too. So we have like 4 core domain and domains within FinOps. How do you understand your cloud usage and cost? How do you quantify your business value? How do you optimize your cloud usage, and how do you manage your FinOps processes? And all this works together too. So different organizations have different maturity in this different domain and capability in these different domains too. Can we go to the next slide, which will show like the capabilities within there. So when you want to understand your cloud usage and cost, how do you do your data ingestion? Where are these data coming off from? From the cloud provider, from your on-prem, how are you pulling it up? How do you do your allocation? How do you do your reporting and analytics? Your anomaly detection, for example, the kind of project I used as an example, if we had had anomaly management in there, we would have detected, when we started just, playing around with the data pipelines, doing some ETL, it was costing a lot because, yeah, the anomaly detection. So these were not in place at that time, and we were able to, we paid for it. So how do you put all that into place? How do you quantify your business value? And how do you your planning? How do you do your estimation, your forecasting? How do you benchmark? How do you do your budgeting, your unit economics? How do you play around with it? That's another key domain. Then we have your optimize cloud usage and cost you. How do you do your architecting for the cloud, your workload optimization? How do you go around it? Sustainability is one key thing that is coming in now, and everyone wants to run in a sustainable world now. How do you do your rate optimization, your licensing and SaaS too? That comes into that. And then we have the managed FinOps practices too. How do you do your policy? How do you do your chargeback invoicing, your assessments of your FinOps within the organization? Which tooling and services too. So these are the capabilities under the domain. And each organization, to be honest with you, you can't be run on everything. You have to be able to map out where you are. Some organization in understand cloud and they're still at the cross stage, they're just still starting up. Whereas maybe at their business value, they are at the run stage or work stage there. So depending on how you have to be able to tie what's your organization and map it to what it is. So can we go to the next stage, please? And then, yeah, so, and then when I was talking about it's not being a race, it's not just going to be a one-time thing. There are three different phases to FinOps. We have the informed stage, which is more about like the cost possibility, forecasting, looking at your data, and then you go to your optimized stage. This is where you make the real decisions on what you want to do. And then when you make the decision on what you do, you go to the operate stage where you do them and you look at what's, the result of what you've done. And then you keep going like that. So one of the mistakes I see from organization in this is they have loads of stuff in their, maybe in their informed state, they've seen loads of gaps and everything. When they go to the optimized state, they list a lot, and then they want to do everything at a particular goal in time. No, you just have to, organization can work in an agile way, in a sprint way. Pick one or two things, implement it. You go to your pre stage, you look at the results, you plan again, you go into your informed stage, look at another particular resource or another particular thing. You make a decision on that, okay, in this 2 weeks plan or 4 weeks plan, we are going to make sure we do this. You go into the optimized stage, you apply. So it, as I said, is an iterative process. It just keeps going. It just keeps going on. And then you have different maturity, which I talked about previously. We've got the cross stage, which is, we're still manually doing stuff, and it's fine. Even some organizations are still in pre-crawl. We have sometimes, people still say pre-crawl too. We are still doing stuff, going into the portal, clicking here, clicking here, which is fine, depending on how you map your domain. And we have those that are in the work stage, they are semi-automated. They can automate some parts. They can manually do some parts too, which is also fine too. And then we have some organizations that are in the run stage, which, everything is fully automated in their CI/CD pipeline. They've, putting their FinOps in there before they even do any deployment. It tells them the cost. I was working with an organization in which we even brought AI into the CI/CD pipeline. Like when you're deploying something, it will tell you, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. But we can also, instead of using this, you can use this. It will give you a lot of recommendation. I'll be like, okay, depending on what we want to do, let's pick up. So some organization are in that workspace. So you just need to be able to be honest with your organization and map out where you are. And so those are the three maturity stages. So can we go to the next slide, please? And then for you to build up, people want to build up our FinOps, who are like the key people that needs to be there. You find these are like the core personas. You have your engineering team there because they are the ones that take the action on all these resources. You have the FinOps practitioner, which of like guides the team. We have your finance team in there too that brings the finance aspect into it. You have your leadership, as I said, has to be a top-down approach. You have your leadership that can stamp, make stamp. You have your procurement team too and product team too. The key thing for leadership is that sometimes FinOps is going to be a cultural change. Sometimes it's hard. I've worked in organizations where it's hard, where want to make this decision before you get approval from this person, get approval from this person, get approval. It's just hard. They just want to, let's just for example, project manager, they just want to tick the box. Yeah, this is our requirement. Just do it. And you'll be like, no, you have to follow like our FinOps principles and everything. So sometimes it's quite hard. But when you have your leadership buying there and just be like, yeah, the leadership team have bought into this. This is how it needs to be done. And then we have allied personas too, because sometimes when you make all these decisions too, for example, SaaS, you have your ITAM people coming into it, licensing is into place too, sometimes security too, because before you make some decisions, your security wants to look at it. Is it going to have an impact or stuff like that? So security will come into play. And now that we are moving in sustainable world too, if you have got like a sustainability team too, so those are like the allied personas that can come in once in a while, but you have like your core personas that should build up your FinOps team too. Can we go to the next slide, please? And then, as I said, the scopes are now changing now. Previously, even till this year, the scopes has always been public cloud. Yeah, let's put FinOps on Azure, let's put FinOps on our cloud. So, but now SaaS, now people are like, we're spending millions of money on our SaaS products now. So they are now bringing FinOps into their on-prem data centers. So if we can achieve this in the cloud, we can bring it back on our on-prem too, and then they do it on their licensing too. We know how much licensing costs, for organizations too. They are bringing FinOps to most of all these principles into FinOps too. Now that AI is the main thing now, you hear about FinOps for AI, AI for FinOps, and then people are now bringing out FinOps into AI to make sure that the organization are taking maximum. We are not just enabling everybody to use it. If you don't need it in your role, or if you don't need to give them access, because it's burning out different credits for it too. And then different organizations have custom, some are hybrid, public and on-prem, they have a custom way. Some are using public data center licensing and AI, depending on how you're organized. So the scopes have changed now from a public cloud to these different scopes, and this makes it more interesting. If you're like a FinOps or you enjoy FinOps, makes it more interesting because you have to go in depth into that. And FinOps, as I say, should be like it should not be an afterthought. Most of it is an afterthought. It should always be at the beginning. Before you even start in a greenfield, you bring FinOps in. Can we go to the next slide, please? And then, yeah, so as an organization, or where do I even start from? I enjoy what you're saying, or how do we start? So let me just give you like some core stuff on how to start. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, so first thing first is you need to, define your ID scope, look at the maturity assessment. Where exactly are we, and you need to be honest with yourself. Are we in the, and we've got like a maturity assessment that you can follow through, just go through that. Okay, where are we at this point in time and map it? Are we still at the crawl stage, pre-crawl? As I said, even there's pre-crawl, just do your maturity assessment. And after you do that, you focus on what's relevant for your organization. Different organizations have different things in which they focus on. Pick up what is relevant in it. You do your maturity roadmap, how we're going to grow up in this. And then you make sure that you include relevant stakeholders, because as I said, it's a collaborative work. You bring the relevant stakeholders into. After you do that, then you go into analyze and optimize to, what is our cloud adoption framework, for example? How is it being done? Are we following the Microsoft CAF process, or, depending on the public cloud in which you're doing, you define your workload and optimization and execute them. So, okay, this is what we want to do. And, you execute them, you make sure that you follow, what you've recommended or what you said. And then, define your tooling, your reporting tooling model. You want to be using the public cloud tooling? Do you want to build your own? Do you want to buy a third-party tooling? You come up with a reporting tooling. I've seen organizations where they went for a third party, they still didn't enjoy it. Some built it in, some are using mixture of, the public cloud and third party, and mixing the data together. And then you create like an achievable KPI to, not a very, very realistic one at a short time, and you just go for the short wins too. And then you supervise and iterate the scope. You achieve your first scope, you celebrate it. Yeah, you celebrate it. It's not there. When you achieve you celebrate it with the younger. Oh, we've been able to save, if it's even 10, 5%, celebrate it within the team. You revisit your assessment again, and you iterate it. And then in your assessment, you start looking for gap, because you start learning on it now. So you start looking for gap, you start working towards it, applying towards it. And after that, then you work on an accountable structure to, you expose all your teams to FinOps, you do lots of training within the organization. You make sure that everybody understands. We are in organizations where sometimes engineers themselves don't even know what FinOps is all about. And as they feel like it's just finance and they just don't care. They just want to do that. You expose all the teams. You can have FinOps ambassadors within different teams, and you just expose it and start building it top down, and then also get people within the team. You tailor your approach to different stakeholders. For example, what the CIO wants to see wants to be different from what the project managers want to see, want to be different from what finance wants to see. So you tailor the approach to different stakeholders within the organization. So, and as I said, it's a collaborative work. You include everyone within the organization, the tech, the finance, business team. You include them together. You set up, a touch point between everyone. You can have your FinOps Cloud cost of center or of excellence. You bring everyone together. You have your sprint meetings and everything, and then you pick it up like that. And as I said, FinOps is a cultural thing. It has to be top down buying. Even as an engineer, you can't just go anywhere. I love FinOps and you want to sell it. It has to be something that it has to be a top down. So you work on this culture, and then you are being able to make sure that FinOps grows down and it swims down within the organization. I think that's all for me. If you've got any questions, anything, you can reach out to me and answer. Thank you. Back to Akintoye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adedeji. That was a very, very detailed dive into FinOps and the values that it can bring to your organization, which leads me into my presentation, which is all about Manifold Enterprise Solutions cloud practice and how we have taken the concepts of FinOps and driven that down into effective, smart products that can deliver value to your organization at any touch point. So, like I said, we have gone through the various domains and capabilities of the um, FinOps Foundation. Mr. Adedeji has gone through how FinOps integrates with your organization and the value that it can drive in the organization. One of the things that we touch on is the fact that there are so many wasted resources, which honestly is no fault of the business. It is just the way the cloud has been integrated into the business. So there is also unclear ROI from the activities that are going on into the cloud. So prioritization and also forecasting is a bit of a mystery at the moment. And there's scattered visibility, especially with businesses who operate a multi-cloud tenancy or also have resources on premise, which is hybrid cloud. What MES does, Manifold Enterprise Solution, is that we can help you take back control by systematically implementing FinOps frameworks into your ongoing processes to give you clarity on your spend, confident in the design and deployment of any workload you might be thinking of either shifting to the cloud or developing in the cloud, and also providing you control at scale from both a platform perspective and also a one window perspective. Our products at MES are strategically positioned to help cloud transformation. We have taken the principles of FinOps and infused them into our practices to ensure that we deliver with precision. At MES, cloud is not just a business lever, it's a utility that can be approached smartly, just same way you approach electricity to empower your platform to drive your business growth. We provide end-to-end strategy from architecture to cost control to modernization to basically ensure that we can meet you at whatever touch point you are in your business. Taking a look at the streamlined products that we have at MES, first of all, the most important product and process that we offer is enhancing financial visibility and ensuring cost confidence within your cloud or on-premise. Like I said, we cover both multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. And as Mr. Deji mentioned, the scope of FinOps is basically the entire technology stack of the department, and Manifold Compute Enterprise Solutions can bring that visibility to you to ensure that you're making the right decision. Next, we have trained experts and engineers that can approach and deliver a smart cloud architecture, whether it's a landing zone, whether it's ensuring that you are working from a zero trust policy model. We are able to come in and consult with you at any point you may be at on your cloud journey, whether you're just starting or whether you're very advanced, and help you basically develop frameworks and also engineer whatever needs to be done to ensure that your architecture is in line with your company's overall directives and is also secure. We also offer services along agile migrations. If you're thinking of moving a workload from one cloud to another or from on-premise back to the cloud or from the cloud back to on-premise or vice versa, Manifold Computers is here to support you in that migration and also catalog any of the changes that might happen and ensure that you experience basically no downtime. We also are able to help you modernize applications if you are looking at it. And the way that we approach our modernization is from a cost to utility benefit. It might make sense to make an application faster, but if that application isn't going to make you more money, does it make sense to make that application more expensive to run? So we help work with the business through the decisions and make sure it's not just an engineering perspective that they get, but also a business perspective that guides the decision of modernization. And at Manifold Computers, one of our foundational practices and tenets is based on data and empowering the use of data in organizations. We're able to come at it from a data science perspective, but also a data platform perspective. Because as many of you who are in the data world know, it can get very expensive if you don't have the right guardrails around whatever platform you're using to either warehouse and also analyze your data. We can also help in terms of the data architecture in your organization to ensure that it is cost efficient and also performance efficient in terms of whatever analysis or value you are driving from your data. And at Manifold Computers, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is basically ensuring that we are a wonderful companion to our clients along their business journey by enabling structured ongoing optimizations and enablements within their organizations and ensuring that we adhere to whatever reporting structures that they might have to make sure that everyone in the business has full scope of what the value IT is delivering to the organization. Every manifold cloud engagement is designed with business value in mind. We don't just build cloud solutions, we ensure they perform, evolve, and deliver ROI. At this point, I would like to end my presentation and hand over to our guest speakers from one of our strategic partners, Huawei. We have invited Huawei here today because Huawei has taken a good investment in building an availability zone in Lagos, Nigeria, and we believe that their service portfolio could be of interest if you haven't heard about them and also the value that they offer. So at this point in time, I would like to hand over to our guest speaker, Raphael. Raphael. Uh, Sorry, brief apologies. We've seen our guest speaker seems to be having some technical difficulties. We will give him a minute to resolve that and we will proceed with the webinar. Raphael, are you with us?
Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. Um, I had just handed over for your presentation. Would you mind sharing your screen and getting that started?
All right, sure, sure. Just a minute.
In the meantime, I would like to ask if there are any questions. You can just kindly indicate by raising your hand and we will enable your microphone. We will allow until 11:40 for questions while Raphael readies his presentation. So to the audience, are there any questions you would like us to address? We are looking forward to hearing from you. Okay, not to drag things on, Raphael, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Just confirm when you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, fantastic.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a minute. I'm not sure if it's still visible.
We just lost your screen. Can you reshare?
Okay. All right, should be back up. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raphael, solution architect at Huawei Cloud, and I will be sharing with you today how Huawei Cloud can help you innovate. Um, I'll also be sharing with you our everything as a service model. Let's just dive right in and see. But then, what's a presentation without introduction? You should know who you're dealing with, right? So yes, Huawei. Who is Huawei? Huawei is a leading provider of ICT infrastructure. We are not new in the market. We are known for our phone brand, but not just that, we also provide infrastructure such as servers, storage devices, network devices, consumer devices, even digital power, and as well as cloud. So we heavily invest in research and development because research and development obviously is a driver for innovation. And over time, from 2021 down to 2023 and even in 2025, our investment in R&D has always grown. So this is Huawei globally, right? Now coming down locally down to Nigeria. Huawei has been in Nigeria since 1999. And within that space of time, from 1999 down to 2025, where we are at the moment, we have helped Nigeria deploy their who have helped Nigeria deploy the first 3G network, their first 4G network, and their first 5G network. We've also deployed the first local cloud with a Tier 4 certification in Nigeria. If you're aware, Galaxy Backbone, if you know about it, then we've trained over 190 individuals through our ICT Academy. Currently in Nigeria, we're resident in Lagos, Abuja. Um, those are two main offices, and we also have like points of presence spread across the country as well. So that's Huawei. But the scope of this is just to talk about their cloud offering, just scope to Huawei cloud offering. So my other speakers must have spoken about cost efficiency, how you can manage cost and all. Now imagine you are with a cloud service provider and you're spending you're spending too much money on that cloud service provider and you're not really getting much from it. And now you want to leave, it's time for you to leave, but you find out that most of the services you're using from this cloud service provider is tied to them. If you have to leave, you would have to change a whole lot of things. So in that case, you're vendor locked into that cloud service provider. Not really the same case for Huawei because Huawei invests a lot in the open source technology, and this is evident from some stat like we are the number one contributor to the Linux kernel. The Linux kernel is, I mean, the most popular operating system, powers over 99% of the World Wide Web. And we are top contributors to platforms like Hadoop, Spark, Kubernetes. If you're conversant with big data and the Cloud Native Foundation, these are some familiar tools. So we're born from open source, stronger than open source, and also supporting the open source community. So you migrate to Huawei Cloud. If you need to move out as well, you're able to move out because basically you're just using open source technologies. Moving on, now let's talk about the business, Huawei Cloud. We have actually one of the biggest infrastructure in the African region. So I'm talking about African region, but I'm going to dial it down to the local region, which is in Nigeria. Yeah. So since inception, we started with a region in Johannesburg, where we launched 3 data centers over the space of 4 or 5 years. And during that period as well, we had like a point of presence in Nigeria. This point of presence hosts our CDN, also optimizes network latency for customers who have their workload in Johannesburg. We also launched a region in Egypt, making us like one of the first public cloud in North Africa. And last year, we launched a local cloud in December. Some of you might be familiar with it. And we also have plans to launch data centers in other West African countries and of course some Eastern African countries as well. At first sight, you can see some of our use cases. This is just a few. You see OPay, you see Ria Exchange, FCMB, First Bank, Opera, and the likes. There are more and more customers on this platform already. Moving on, this is just like a first glimpse of our infrastructure offering. Yeah, then down to Nigeria. Late 2024, we launched our own local cloud in Nigeria, and this addresses quite a number of issues, most notably data residency, because some of the challenges we know you have is, you can host the data outside the country. Your data has to be resident in the country to comply with some regulations, right? So with this data center, with this local cloud in Nigeria, you can be rest assured that your data can be in country and at the same time comply with some regulations. Not just that, it also brings your application closer to the end user, right? Because the data center is here in Nigeria, so you have a minimum latency of 15 milliseconds, right? From your applications to your end users. Aside that, the local cloud here offers a rich suite of services to help you innovate, right? Ranging from infrastructure to platform to services that can help you modernize your application. We offer over 40 of these services compared to other local offerings you would have in country. I've seen some other offerings where you just have 10 services, 8 services, and all. We are bringing 40 services and more ST coming in the local cloud. And of course, if you're not looking to go public cloud, you could also use our private cloud offering, which we call Huawei Cloud Stack. This can be resident in your own data center. It can be resident in your own data center as well. Moving on. All right. So for the next series of slides, I'm just going to rush through. I'm just going to talk about some of the features or some of the technologies that can help you innovate, that can boost your confidence in innovating, that can help you drive your business innovation. First off is the high availability architecture design. This speaks to our backbone network for high availability. I know some time back, maybe last year, some cloud service provider had issues because of the fiber cuts on the sea fiber cuts, and a lot of cloud service provider went down during that period. But it would shock you to know that at that point, Huawei was still up because we had like a lot of redundancies, a lot of fiber redundancies. And even during that period when other cloud service providers were down, our services were still up and running. And there were some testimonials as well during that point. So yes, running on Huawei Cloud, you're guaranteed high availability, both at infrastructure layer, network layer, at whatever layer you are working, you're looking to work at. Moving on, talk about agility and efficiency. More and more teams, more and more companies are moving from waterfall down to they are moving from waterfall down to agile deployments. Now, more teams are becoming agile, and to help encourage agility, what does Huawei Cloud has to offer in that sense? So we first we talk about our infrastructure as a service, where we offer computing services, storage services, networking services, database services as well. Then we have platform as a service. Under our platform as a service, Huawei provides you a platform for big data analysis, big data query. You see things such as a map reduce. These are all managed services. These are all platforms where you don't have to build from scratch, right? If you're looking to do big data or integrate big data into your product, you can always leverage on this Huawei Cloud platform to do that. And talk about AI. We know AI is like the trend right now. Everybody wants to do AI. Everybody wants to integrate AI into their businesses, agentic AI, RAG, MCPs, and all, right? So I have a slide I could just touch on AI further on. So I'll just skip this guy for now, but just know Huawei provides you a platform. Huawei provides you a platform to build, develop, and deploy your AI applications. Then if you're looking at application modernization, you're running containers and you need a platform to run these containers. You're switching from deploying to virtual machines to running containers, right? Huawei Cloud provides you a cloud container engine. It's based off of Kubernetes. Like I mentioned, we build an open source, so it's Kubernetes, and Kubernetes is Kubernetes everywhere, right? So, but this time around, it's a managed platform, meaning the stress of managing the infrastructure is abstracted from you. So we do that management while you focus on innovating. Same thing with the database as a service, automated backup, patching, all of this is handled by the cloud service provider. And of course, there's the Web3 and the application service mesh. I mean, you might be wondering, I could get this anywhere. These other guys are doing this, these other guys are doing that. Why does it have to be Huawei? We'll get to that particular point. So with all of this suite of services that Huawei, or this suite of platform Huawei has to offer, you get to experience resource efficiency, agile innovation, data intelligence, and also comply to the security compliance, which I'm also going to touch very shortly. Moving on. Yes, like I mentioned, if you wonder, everything I've mentioned so far, things you could probably get from somewhere else. But what makes Huawei's offering different? And a simple word for that is just high performance. High performance. So it's there's a popular saying we have in house. You pay less for high performance compared to what you do out there, where you pay high for high performance. But on Huawei Cloud, you just pay less for high performance, right? So down from our data center to our servers to our CPU architecture, these guys are built for high performance. And if you look at the CPU architecture, we support Intel, the NVIDIA GPU, the Kupeng, which is Huawei's native architecture, and also the Ascend, which is Huawei's AI, Huawei AI CPU architecture. And it will interest you to know that the Ascend, that's where the DeepSeek large language model is currently running at the moment, right? Moving on. Also, I want to believe maybe, I mean, one way or the other, we're already on a different cloud service provider, or maybe we're looking to move to Huawei Cloud, and you're wondering, maybe for disaster recovery or for business continuity purpose, you're looking at practicing multi-cloud, like maybe running an active setup on one cloud service provider and a standby setup on the Huawei Cloud. That is possible, or maybe active on Huawei Cloud or standby on another cloud. That is highly possible. Although there are no native tools to help you achieve this, but there are ISVs who support multi-cloud interoperability. So this is also one of the things you get to enjoy as well. Then talk about security. What do we have to offer in terms of security? So first, there is security for you, and there's security for the platform as well. But first, let me speak to security for you. In terms of security, what do we have to offer? We offer different layers of security, from physical security, identity security, network security, down to O&M security. Physical security is obviously protection for the data center that's handled by the cloud service provider. Then there is identity security. Now you're on cloud. How do you protect your cloud account? How do you manage permissions? Stuff like that. All of this fall into identity security. You'll find services like IAM, resource governance, services like this are all under this identity security. Then for network security, we're talking about cloud firewall, which is the next generation firewall on cloud. You have DDoS mitigation services as well. For application security, you have web application firewall. For cyber security, you have HSS, which is host security service, act as anti-ransomware, antivirus, vulnerability scan, container security, container image security. It's a full-fledged service for anything that has to do with cyber security or host security, or even workload security as well. Then for data security, DLP, data categorization, data masking, all of that you can find in our data security center, which is also a service. Then for O&M security, so imagine you're using all of this security service, ranging from identity to data security. You're using all of this service. It can be quite cumbersome, right? Having to go into each of the service to every time to like get information, and that's where SecMaster comes in. SecMaster is a one-stop platform for managing all of these security services you're using. So it's a bird's eye view to your security posture. All right. So that's security for you. Now, what about security from the Huawei perspective? Huawei is one of the top safest cloud service provider there, with over 120 global certifications, PCI DSS compliant, and also compliant to local laws like the NDPR and some local financial regulations. And this is why we're leveraging their 30 years of experience for security and compliance. All right. Resource orchestration is also a key thing you get to enjoy, because just riding on the maybe first, second presentation, where my colleagues are going to talk about costs, what this RFS does for you is you can create a template. You can create a template of your infrastructure, right? A ready-made template. So anytime you need to deploy that set or that kind of infrastructure, you just have to like apply that template. This helps you to like keep the configurations intact, and also you can also save. You can also know the cost of running this particular. You can know the cost of running this particular infrastructure. So I'm short on time, so I'm just going to just brush through the rest of the slides. All right. So I talk about this in terms of migration. Huawei Cloud provides different set of migration tools for different workload. Are you thinking about migrating your network, your servers, your database, your object storage, or maybe big data for data analysis, Warrior Cloud provides different level of migration, different tools for different level of migration to help you move your workload either from on-premise or from a different CSP down to Warrior Cloud seamlessly. Moving on, this was the AI slide I was going to talk about. Some popular AI scenarios these days are smart OCR, process automation, smart Q&A, report generation, agentic AI, anti-fraud, and the likes of that, right? So all of this can also be achieved on Warrior Cloud AI platforms. You could build your models, you could train your models there, you could create your AI applications as well, and also deploy those AI applications all on Warrior Cloud. And these are some use cases. There's a video here because of time. I'm not going to play that video, but a very popular use case, I mean, these days is for AI contact center, agentic AI, let AI help you, or, let AI power your contact center. There is a video here, but because of time, I can't play that like I mentioned. So another example is using AI to streamline or make your whole software development lifecycle more efficient, reducing your time to market from 90 days to 5 days or less. We have a platform for managing your whole software development lifecycle. We call it Code Hacks. Includes things like it comes with a repository, project management platform. You can do code security check. You can build your code, deploy your code, test the code. You can create releases as well. All of this can be achieved on that platform. There's also a video on this, time with permits. And yes, finally, what are competitive advantage? What do we have to offer? I know you've seen high performance, you've seen latency, you've seen data residency, you've seen quite a lot, some of the things we have to offer. But this is just to summarize it. Like I mentioned, we are residents in, we have like branches. I mean, aside from the other global branches we have like local teams here in Nigeria to help you in terms of support. And also I mentioned we're like one of the safest cloud service provider out there. And yes, let's run a POC with you. If you have that, let's run a POC with you, which is free, no pay, no success, no pay. We can run this POC and see how it goes. So you can see all of this is I'm saying, right? It's not just for word, right? Then we can help you save cost by about 30% compared to other cloud service provider. We have testimonials about this. I mean, we have just that we've not been like we've not been like permitted to publish some of our use cases, so you can see how much we've saved some certain enterprises or some companies. Then yes, aside that, I know it's a new platform for you. So we provide free certifications and training to help you adapt to the platform easily. And finally, in terms of SLA guarantee, what we actually offer is one of the best SLA guarantees in the industry. Our service availability, also one of the best. While you get 99.99 from other cloud service provider, you'll be getting 99.995 on the Warrior Cloud side. And with that, I say a very big thank you for listening. So any questions, I'll be on standby.
Thank you very much, Raphael. If you kindly stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Just to round us up. So, to round us up, we're here to talk about how MES can guide you through such a complex cloud offering, as Raphael has clearly indicated, because cloud has so many touch points across your organization, from existing infrastructure to innovation. There is a need for a cloud partner that thinks long term, that is not just solving cost issues, but is also enabling your organization to scale confidently in the cloud and take advantage of all the brand new innovations such as AI that are offered right now. Manifold Enterprise Solution has a process of engagement where we go through a discover or a diagnose phase, basically to get the ball rolling, to make sure that there is a clear understanding of what is going on in the cloud from a usage standpoint. And we are able to also offer a cost assessment to ensure that your cloud utilization is benchmarked against best practices, and also that you are paying exactly for what you require. We are able to conduct a maturity mapping process to ensure and align the various parties in your organization and build an effective approval decision-making pipeline to also maintain the agility that you went to the cloud for the first place from, but also bringing responsibility and accountability to the decisions that are being made. We make sure we align with your business goals, and we discover FinOps opportunities immediately that can help bring down your current cost in the cloud. We make sure to design and define whatever we are tackling or whatever workload we are trying to enable or engineer within the FinOps governance model. We can help you proliferate a tagging model throughout your organizations to empower chargeback and showback, to make sure that the people who are consuming this cloud resources, the departments outside IT who are driving the use of these resources, have a clear understanding of the cost associated, so that they understand that this is a capital requirement for the business, which requires an ROI. And if they demand the services, there must be a clear return for these services. We also offer best in practice cloud architecture and optimization planning, and we can also help define KPI and success matrices within your organization in regards to whether you are in multi-cloud or hybrid cloud. And not just that, we support by implementing and enabling your organization, whether it's by rolling out dashboards that are targeted to various parts of the business that give clarity to the spend and the utility that's going on in the cloud, whether it's assisting you with building a landing zone, whether it's assisting you with a migration, or whether it's assisting you with your business continuity strategy. We offer engineers that are trained from a FinOps perspective and also a cloud architecture and engineering perspective to ensure that we can tackle these problems with precision and guarantee a positive outcome. And we also help your organization optimize and involve whatever services that you may have going on, whether you're looking to transform digitally or roll out a new product. Manifold Enterprise Solutions can help you drive these things through your business with our augmentation services and also our expertise around this area. To round up this presentation, I'm just going to give a highlight on what can be gained by embedding FinOps in your organization. From what we've seen in the market with the clients that we've engaged with, within the first 90 days, we've been able to cut down their cloud spend between 20 to 35%, which is basically recovering 20 to 35% of their annual cloud billing cost, which can then go back into the business, which can also drive innovation in the business. At the start of my presentation before Raphael took over, I mentioned visibility is our priority. Seeing and controlling everything is the best way to make sure that we can ensure a return on investment on the decisions and workloads that we place in the cloud, or also help in terms of placing, whether it's on premise or whether we're looking to deploy a SaaS, making sure that we can tie accountability to whatever IT is spending, and then making sure that we can proliferate the responsibility for generating a return on the IT investment throughout the various activities in the business. We help you run leaner without slowing down, and we also help you assign the right people to build the correct accountability structure. We ensure innovation, and we can also help speed up delivery across your organization in terms of proliferating IT services. At this point in time, I would like to bring this webinar to a close. The various account managers who have sent out invitations for this webinar will be reaching out to you with a recording of this webinar for you to watch at your own free time or to share with any of your colleagues that may be interested. Please feel free to contact me at any moment. I am always available. My phone number is on screen now if you would like to take a note of it. right here. Oop. I look forward to engaging with you. And at this point in time, I would also like to throw it back to the audience if you have any questions. Okay, on that note, thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to working with you and helping you through your cloud journey. Manifold Enterprise Solutions is very, very honored for you by the time that you have set aside to learn about our solutions and learn about the direction that we are moving in terms of as a company. Thank you very much, Raja. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Thank you again for your time. I'll be bringing this meeting to a close now.